right there. This is a late night video and I apologize for how late, and I expect that some of you will be seeing it in the morning. It's not expected to go long, but you know me, I could be long-winded at times. The issue here, and the reason I chose that song, We're Ready for the Road, is that Trinidad and Tobago, you really have to pay some mind to the fact that we are going to have to march in this country lawfully, legally, democratically, unceasingly. This country is being looted. You see the name of this video? The Enemy Within. The country is being looted. Today I learned something. I learned that Wilfred Espinay was actually successful in turning Petrotrin around, and that when he announced at the end of the second quarter that it was profitable, it really was. And that he was fired for doing something that he wasn't supposed to do. That was not his job. He was sent there to take heat as an economic hitman. I don't know why he's staying so silent. I don't know what he signed. But he could challenge me and dispute this if he wants. The Petrotrin company was profitable. They had removed the debt, and the company itself was operating profitably. Share this video, you know. Share this video wildly. Trinidadians have to hear. Listen, if you find out your man horning you or your woman horning you and you're okay with that, cool. My job is just to give you the information so that you know, so that you're aware what's going on. If you choose to say, listen, I don't care if PNM gang rape me, I vote in there. I don't care if UNC steal everything I own, I'm voting for that. Cool, no problem. I am not judging anybody anymore. I have come to realize that there are some people in this country, how much I don't know, elections time will tell. Share the video though, share the video. Elections time will tell how many sensible people they have left in the country. I mean, at the end of the day, people have woken up to the fact that those who own and operate those political parties are not the people who vote for those political parties. They're not going down those roads. You all decide what you want to do. It's all up to you, no problem. But politics and political parties become governments, and governments run your country. And governments are supposed to run the country to the best interest of the people, not what is going on now. Keith Rowley and this PNM has become the worst version of everything that's wrong with Trinidad and Tobago. There are a handful of corrupt Syrian, predominantly Syrian businessmen that are operating the PNM, this PNM, and pulling all of its strings, that are looting this country. The things that we hear about are small compared to the things that we don't know about that's being taken in grab and gone. And it's only after a next election you will find out who really owns everything in this country. It's not going to be you, and you're not benefiting from it. This is the real problem. The real problem is the country belongs to the people, and that all of the assets of the country also belong to the people. There is no such thing as government funding. Government have no funds. It's all taxpayer money. It is all generated by income from the country. But back on the point. If Wilfred Espinay was successful, as I have been reliably informed today, that what Espinay was successful in doing, because you see, they did this twice, and they're doing it a third time, they're circling Wassa. You see, Wassa is probably the biggest company potentially in Trinidad and Tobago. Wassa is possibly the biggest company in Trinidad and Tobago potentially. And A proper running WASA, let me give you an example. A proper running WASA shuts down Blue Waters, shuts down the Sani, shuts down Water One, shuts down half of the income of Chubby and Solo and all of that. A proper running WASA destroys the bottled water industry. A proper running WASA destroys the plastic tank and the water pump industry. A proper running WASA earns for the state hundreds of millions of dollars. And they need to destroy WASA in reality and in your mind so that you believe, and it's coming, they're coming to it. They're slowly building up to it. And I think they're waiting until after the 2020 election to shut it all down, to tell you that it's a catastrophic break, that at the same time that the Salcott completely failed, we have massive 56-inch breaks in 4 parts of the country, and that WASA has collapsed and drive you into the Stone Age to the point where any white knight on a white horse show up and say, I will spend $1 billion to make WASA functional. This is not acceptable. I will turn it on in a week. And the people will say, please, give it to him for free. And that's what they're doing, and that's what they did. That's what they did. They're coming to the point now with Petrotrin. Because Petrotrin wasn't broken. When Franklin Kahn said that Petrotrin was going to damage the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, Franklin Kahn was telling a lie. Franklin Kahn had no facts to back up that statement. But there was nobody in the country, and I am challenging Kamala Persad-Bissessar tonight to tell this country, whenever you see this video, yeah, I think I have some kind of cold, so my nose real itching, so I apologize for how much times you see I plate my nose. Is the UNC and the PNM in cahoots? Have they joined forces? Is all of this stunting bullshit? Is that why nobody's really being brought to justice? Is it all theater? Or are the PNM and the UNC fighting on the ground by the same handful of corrupt business lawyers, accountants, that cabal we call the contract mafia? Is the contract mafia operating both the PNM and the UNC? And I'll tell you why. When Franklin Kahn set Petrotrin on fire, that's what he did. He set it on fire. He panicked the nation. He sent the government in a scurry. Respond to this. Fire everybody. Shut it down. Save the economy. And we took that chain up. But it wasn't real. And it wasn't true. And he was lying. And they were lying. And the opposition said nothing. Now I want you to understand, because tonight I'm thinking, because I'm negotiating with lawyers, trying to get lawyers, and at the end of this video I am going to appeal to civic-minded, patriotic lawyers. Even if you are Trinbagonian by birth or by descendant, if you are a Trinbagonian lawyer in the Commonwealth, anywhere in the world, please, 682-2110, reach out to me. I am begging all patriotic, civic-minded attorneys. We have some. We need more. We have to mount a massive challenge against this. I want to ask, the government is obviously looting the country. Why is the opposition so silent? The opposition, because tonight I'm thinking, surely there must be an organization in this country funded by the state whose responsibility it is to stand up to the government. And then my mind said, that's the opposition's job. That's what the opposition is paid to do. The opposition is paid to stand up to government abuse. The opposition's job is to challenge this. And the opposition has done nothing, said nothing. It's like Roger. The OWTU stood down and let Rowley shut Petrotrin down and stunted, played a couple games, but done nothing. They did nothing. They didn't organize all of the unions and shut the country down and demanded that we be consulted. None of that happened. The opposition didn't take to the streets. The opposition didn't convene a round table. I have been waiting. I have been watching to see who. Because nothing is wrong with Petrotrin. How do I know nothing is wrong with Petrotrin? Because the same government, when they sold it to Patriotic, that OWTU Ansel Roger is fronting for whoever, and we will find out. But you can't say that you are going to hand a refinery to OWTU to operate if it is broken beyond repair. You can't stand in the parliament and say to the nation that you're proud to hand it to the OWTU and you know that they will be successful. How could they be successful if the company is as broken as you said it is? The OWTU does not have taxpayers' funds, or they shouldn't have taxpayers' funds to operate it. They are now a private enterprise about to take on a responsibility that the nation state of Trinidad and Tobago couldn't. How is that possible? How is that possible? If Franklin Kahn said that Petrotrin is so badly broken that it will destroy the economy of Trinidad. Here bullshit now. Here bullshit. All you had to do to right-size Petrotrin was go through the management and root out all of the UNC and PNM appointees. All mommy, sister, cousin, friend that is a vice president of some nonsense, drawing fat salaries, driving Prado and BMW, have nothing to friggin' do at the end of the day. That is where Petrotrin's money was going. Because the vicissitudes of the oil industries moves from boom to bust and back again. But it's an asset of the country, and the Heritage and Stabilization Fund is supposed to be there to protect it in the down times. Patrick Manning, the boom that we had, the oil and gas boom that we had under Patrick Manning was so massive that that money should be sitting in a bank account somewhere in the hundreds of billions of dollars to protect Petrotrin for the down times. Understand this. Where is that money? Where is it? You can't tell me that the $13 billion that Conrad Enel, Ken Julian, Malcolm Jones and that crew looted with the gas to liquids bullshit that now becoming Nikewan, which is sold to them as scrap metal, and for $125 million, magically a next company that made up of PNM people, that magically they could operate with just $125 million and make it functional. But the entire nation state of Trinidad and Tobago, having spent $13 billion, can't operate it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. Nikwan people are all Petrotrin employees and a former senator. You're trying to tell me that if they could operate gas to liquids, World GTL, we couldn't? How is it possible that employees of Petrotrin could operate Petrotrin profitably, but Trinidad and Tobago cannot? How is that possible? How is it possible that Nikewan could operate World Gas to Liquid for $125 million? We spend $125 million a week on national security, health, education. I mean, the list goes on. $125 million is not a lot of money for Trinidad and Tobago to find. We could find that in between the cushions in La Fantasy, coins. Check it up, and we have about $125 million there. So if all it needed, they didn't bring Christ, Buddha, Mother Lakshmi, Muhammad, none. They brought normal Trinbagonian people that made World Gas to Liquids functional for $125 million. So my question is, why couldn't we? We spent the $13 billion. And if you spend $13 billion for something, And all it needs after that is 125 million to run. 125 million to run. That is 1% of what you've already spent. We couldn't find that. Couldn't find that. How's that possible? Come back to Petrotrin. How is it possible that in such quick time, a company that became profitable, the books were published, we saw that if you remove the Ken Julian, Conrad Enel, Malcolm Jones, World Gas to Liquids fiasco, Petrotrin could be functional, it could be right-sized, and Wilfred Espinay did that. That it was profitable. How did it go from being profitable and in 3 months was shut down, broken up, and put out for sale? And this is where it gets worse. This is where it becomes insanity. Madness gives way to insanity here. And I'm asking Trinidad and Tobago again, is the PNM and the UNC working together to loot this country on behalf of the contract mafia? Because the opposition is paid to do what I am doing tonight and what I am about to do. The opposition is paid for that. This is what they get a salary for. Kamala gets paid to watchdog the government. That's the job, Kamala. How come you're saying nothing? And I'll show you what she's supposed to say. When Colm Imbert, after all that madness passed, and you know what? I too sat down and watched all that madness pass. You know why? I'm thinking to myself, the OWTU will stand up. Kamala and the UNC will stand up. Afra Raymond will stand up. People who know about this kind of thing, people who this is their traditional space, would stand up and speak. But it's been silent. And I watched when the UNC was in government and I saw a certain minister, when he had a certain portfolio, he taught me how easy it is to silence Trinidad and Tobago. Feed all mangy mouths. Put something for all mangy mouths to chew on and they may come in near you. They're not coming near you. So is it that everybody sell out? The Progressive Empowerment Party isn't. This is where we at tonight. The question I want to ask is this. If you have an auction for sale to the highest bidder, when the auction is done, the person who bid the highest, how do you then tell them, don't worry to pay, take it? How unjust to the owner of the property that you just sold. How unjust to the second bidder, the third bidder, the fourth bidder, because the first bidder won. The first bidder won. So the people who own the property are about to get paid. The second bidder, tough luck, you didn't bid enough. But then the auctioneer told the first bidder, all right, you win. I'm proud of you. You brought tears to my eyes seeing you win and stand up and win. Great bidding. Don't bother to pay. The insanity of what took place with the sale of Petrotrin is a criminal act. And I am saying to Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Trinidad and Tobago is engaged in a criminal act. And the only reason you do not know is that the safeguard, the constitution built in to protect the country from the government committing a criminal act, the opposition are in on it. The opposition are in on this. That is why they're silent on it. They're talking a crocus bag of nonsense about everything. But this, nobody talking about. And this is the most important issue in Trinidad and Tobago, and they're keeping it quiet. No Mark Bassat, no Hema Ramkisu, no Fazir Mohammed, nobody, there's nobody talking about this. And this is the most amazing thing about it all, that if you took this matter before the courts and sought judicial review, the court will overturn what took place here. And Kamala have more lawyers than Saris. Kamala surrounded by lawyers. How come not one single attorney from the opposition sought judicial review on the terms of the sale first? But worse, the government, who unilaterally took it upon themselves to set the terms of the sale, who unilaterally took it upon themselves to decide to sell our asset in the first place, also decided, after the bid was won, to vary the terms of the bid. How in heaven's name could you sell my property, accept a bid, and without the authority to do this, give my property away and tell the winning bidder, keep the money? Hold on to it. How come not one single organization in this country, Wayne Sturge, who stood up by himself and asked one question, because we were about to ask a question when Wayne Sturge as an independent stood up and filed an injunction. And then he was shut down. Wayne was shut down. The government went and said, okay, we'll go to the JSC, and the opposition tell Wayne, cool that. You're making UNC look bad as a former UNC. So Wayne just back out. Wayne Sturge back out. And still, Trinidad and Tobago, I want you to understand. Colm Imbert, and this is the important thing, and this is what I am appealing to civic-minded attorneys. Please, stand up for this country. Stand up. This is what I want to ask tonight, because we have some attorneys. We need more. This is a big case. We need to get this into a court quickly. We need a court to look at this. We need to seek judicial review. We need to file an injunction stopping the Minister of Finance from selling Petrotrin under varied terms. He has committed a crime. Petrotrin was sold for $700 million upfront. Colm, Stuart, Faris, and Keith told the nation that OWTU, fronting a company called Patriotic, has won the bid because of, that is the only bid, with an upfront cash payment. Because the whole world knew that the bid that really won was a bid by a company named Beowulf, and that their bid over 15 years is a far greater offer to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. But we had to listen to the Minister of Finance say the reason Patriotic was selected was because of the upfront payment. The singular term that you used to justify giving Patriotic the winning bid, you vary after. How is that legal, lawful, right, just? How does that make sense to anybody? We all know that Ansel Roger cannot run an oil company. We all know that Ansel Roger and the OWTU cannot run Petrotrin. They can operate a refinery, and that regardless of who buys it, first draft is OWTU workers to operate it. But actually running the oil company, the difference between the cooks in the back at the roti shop and the people in front who operating and selling the roti is two different things. And Ansel Roger's job is to chunke the Jira. His job is to run the refinery. That is the OWTU's job. Saying that the OWTU bought Petrotrin is a lie. And it is a lie that we cannot accept any longer. But the reason that you do not know what exactly is going on in this country, it is because the government, the PNM, and the UNC are in cahoots here. If there was not a fix in against the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the UNC would have done what we are struggling to do. We don't have deep pocket finances. We don't have drug man money. Trinidad and Tobago, the Progressive Empowerment Party, is all that stands between this country and the darkness trying to engulf it. We need attorneys now to stand up. You don't have to join the PEP. You don't have to like me. We don't even have to talk. Our position is simple, and we are asking for legal assistance. We have a couple of attorneys in the party. They are asking for legal assistance. We're not even asking for money. We are asking for legal assistance for this. We want to go to court, file an injunction against the Minister of Finance, and apply for judicial review, and ask the court to weigh in on this issue, this simple issue. If the Minister of Finance put Petrotrin out for sale and it was sold to the highest bidder, we want the court to order the Minister of Finance to stand by the terms of the sale or put it back out to bid again worldwide. Because between that last bid and now, things change in the world. But in the region, everybody have oil now. Trinidad have a refinery. They need we. And we supposed to benefit from all of that handsomely. Handsomely. The Progressive Empowerment Party, on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, is appealing to the courts to review the matter, and if they agree with our position that the Minister of Finance has played us all for fools, that he said that Petrotrin was sold to Patriotic because of the $700 million US upfront payment. We are saying, and we are asking the court to uphold this. Do not vary the terms of the winning bid. If you accepted the bid, inclusive of a US $700 million upfront payment, insist on it. That the deal cannot go forward. There can be no sale, no signing, unless that US $700 million upfront is paid. When? Upfront. Upfront. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, must insist on it. I am asking again, I am appealing to any civic-minded attorneys outside there who believe in the ethics of their profession, who have integrity at all, and want to continue practicing in a profession that they could hold above reproach. You've chosen this as a career. I am calling on attorneys, please. This doesn't mean you're joining the Progressive Empowerment Party. This doesn't mean that. All we want is legal representation. We cannot afford what we need, and we do not have the time to raise the funds. We could owe you, and if you give us credit, we'll find the money to pay you. All we're asking for is legal representation to seek judicial review of the Minister of Finance's transaction. We want the court to weigh in on this. Was this matter handled lawfully, legally, and in the best interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago? We are calling tonight on attorneys anywhere in the world. Get on a plane. Come here. We're talking billions of dollars. Trinidadians don't realize that the Minister of Finance predicated this last budget. 40% of it was taxation. That means left pocket to right pocket. He literally plugged the extension cord into itself. They're the same people that you want to say you're representing. You're taxing them to run the country. Petrotrin is integral to Trinidad and Tobago. Absolutely integral. And this is the first stage and the first step in opening up this entire can of worms, everything that took place here. Because if we get judicial review and if we get this in front of a judge, we could pierce whatever gag order is keeping Wilfred Espinay silent. We need the truth as to what is taking place with Petrotrin. They've already shut it down. It can't get worse. It is time for us to stand together and do the right thing. Do the right thing. All of us. Listen. We can let it sink in. We can let them steal it, loot it, rob it. Let them tell stories about how well they're doing in life while Trinidad becomes a human rights catastrophe, where we become a crisis, where people have to come in and bring food and supplies. Yes, quick time, it will happen. The economy will collapse. We're going to end up there. We're going to be Haiti. We're going to be Somalia. That's where we're going. That's where they're taking you. That's where they're taking you. Deliberately taking you there. They're deliberately taking you there. If you want to know why, go and read Saul Alinsky. I'm not going into that tonight. I'm just saying again, we need assistance. My number is 682-2110. Forget and ignore anything Ansel Roger has to say. Ansel Roger is a front and a mouth. He has nothing to do with this. Anybody who buys Petrotrin have to hire the OWTU. Ansel Roger notwithstanding. We want to protect the owners of Petrotrin, the people of Trinidad and Tobago who are being robbed here. The government is robbing the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and the opposition is allowing it to take place. PNM and UNC, together in cahoots with the OWTU, just pulled off a perfect crime for people who will not show their face until the money starts to flow, until it is too late. Trinidad and Tobago, we are at that point, you know. We are at that point where when the news agencies from around the world come to cover why Trinidad and Tobago collapsed and failed, they'll talk about this. They'll talk about this moment in our history, because they'll talk about there was a time, CNN will lead in with, there was a time this failed nation was the third wealthiest nation in the Western Hemisphere. It was ahead of Venezuela, and ahead of Brazil, ahead of Mexico, ahead of Argentina. This tiny Caribbean nation was the third wealthiest per capita in the Western world. It was a dragon. It was a massive performer on the global stage before it collapsed. Before Petrotrin was stolen from the people, before the country's oil company was stolen from the people. I would ask Ramesh, but he busy challenging a Sedition Act. And there's another issue I'm going to bring up tomorrow, but I'll ask the question tonight. The matter before the courts with the Sedition Act is that the Sedition Act is vague and unconstitutional. If the court upholds that to be true, then the Director of Public Prosecutions have questions to answer, because his job is to interpret law and apply it from a prosecutorial point of view. And it would say that he does not know the job. But that is another conversation. We are talking here tonight. We are discussing tonight the great heist, the great Petrotrin heist being undertaken right now by the PNM. And Kamala Prasad says, "Sir, prove me wrong, you know. Prove me wrong, Kamala. I am calling on you as the opposition, as the constitutional safeguard to the government and its excesses. I am calling on the United National Congress tonight. Prove me wrong. Take up this mantle. We will drop it. It's all yours. Take it up. You have the funds. You're being paid by the state to do this. Take up this mantle, Kamala, and the United National Congress. File an injunction stopping the sale and seek judicial review on the terms of this matter. We need to intervene as a people, as citizens, as patriots, and stop this. Trinidad and Tobago, stand together. I am calling, I am appealing, attorneys. You don't even have to consult us. You could do it on your own. It doesn't even have to be PEP. If you're doing it, we will stand down. We just need somebody to. Somebody, because this is your playfield. If I could go into a court tomorrow and appeal to a judge, I would. I'd do whatever it takes. I'd start marching tonight and don't stop marching till we break this. But I need legal representation. I need good lawyers who care about this country. And I'm asking everybody who see this video, please share it and ask all the attorneys that you know to consider getting involved. We're running out of time. We need to stop it now. We need to file an injunction now. We need the courts to command the Minister of Finance to either live up to the terms of the bid or cancel the bid and put it back out to bid again. I have nothing else to add. At this point, now tonight, is in the hands of people who have legal experience. I am hoping, I am praying that there are at least a couple lawyers in this country who have professional ethics, personal integrity, and who love this country. Stand up, file an injunction, ask the court to review the actions of the Minister of Finance, and if warranted, stop the sale and instruct him to put it back out to tender if the OWTU never had $700 million US. If it was all a bluff, because a court could determine if the OWTU won the bid on a lie, and if the Minister of Finance and the Cabinet was in on the lie, that they never had $700 million US, that it was a bluff, and that they were given the opportunity to win the bid on a lie. As a whole different issue there. That is criminal activity in the cabinet. But for now, let's focus on this. Attorneys, please, stand up for Trinidad and Tobago. We need, all of us as a people, we need our attorneys now to do the right thing. Until tomorrow, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.